So I'm really excited to release this episode with you guys. I just got done finishing this podcast with Holly Hart, the intuitive medium. And she is a close friend of myself and my wife, Megan. We love her to death. She is so authentic. She is so on par. She does everything from her heart. And I kept saying even in the podcast, like no pun intended because her last name is Hart, but like she really does passionately care about this. And so what she talks about is how she became a medium. It kind of chose her. She chose a different career path and still went on to teaching. She did special ed teaching, and then she quit full-time teaching and went into mediumship full-time. And so this whole episode, we talk about how we have used her, how she has helped other people, what services she offers as well, and then obviously the most important part, how you can reach out to her to get a reading yourself. Whether you're in the Arizona area or you are virtual, you can still tune in with her. She is international officially, so be sure to strap in, tune in, and let me know how you guys love this episode, because I have a feeling it's going to be very unique and very amazing for you. All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Doc Jacque Show. I am super excited to have Holly Hart, the intuitive medium, on here. It has been a long time coming. I have used you personally. My wife, Megan, has used you, and that's how we found out about you. But welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So for those people who don't know, what the heck is a medium?
I am somebody that communicates with the deceased. I always use the word spirit loved ones because these are their loved ones. This is not just ghosts. These are people's loved ones. So you'll notice I don't say like spirit. I always say spirit loved ones. But I basically am like the liaison between here on earth and heaven.
Yeah, I love it. How did you get called into this?
Well, at 13 years old, I would see spirit, and I didn't know at that time who it was, so it was hard for me to identify. And then at the same time, I was like, oh, this feels like my uncle. So it was a spirit loved one, actually. And as I kind of journey through this, I would see silhouettes. That's kind of how I see them. And I would get feeling as male or female. And so that was happening. But then my husband, poor guy, he marries me and I'm like, oh, and your aunt is here and all these people are here to come. and he's like, okay, I might have not told him that before we got married.
Oh,
and
okay.
Yeah, so it was a little bit different. But he knew I was very spiritual. So he just didn't know that it was like a real
spiritual
thing. Yeah, that's spiritual. And so he finally I started communicating with them. Somebody had told me, my husband's cousin's wife said, hey, if you can see them, you can communicate with them. And I was like, what? No way. She's like, sit down and do a reading with me. I was like, okay. I didn't know her very well. And sure enough, I brought through her grandfather. I had very accurate evidence. And then I just started practicing and working with a local mentor here, and went to classes and practiced all the time on everybody. So that's how I got into that.
But you got into it that way, but you still chose a different career path initially.
Yes. So, well, I was a special ed teacher for 11 years, and then I was a trainer in a corporate setting for new employees. And that was the time when I had taken a break from teaching and to work at this corporate area that I was like, oh my gosh, this happened in 2019. And then I would just practice on everybody that would walk past me. I'm like, oh my God. And then I went back to teaching for a year, and it wasn't like, it just felt, it just didn't feel right because my business was growing. People were still hiring me as my side hustle. And so finally I decided to leave and pursue my dreams.
Yeah, I love it. And no turning back.
No. Being an entrepreneur is a lot harder than I thought, though.
Yeah. Well, I think any honest person would say the same thing. In hindsight, nobody tells us about the late nights, the stress and all of that. It's like, it's glory. Like, you can make your own schedule. And then you're like, damn, this is hard.
It is. Well, and it's hard because you're everything. You're the social media manager. You're especially in the beginning. I'm in the beginning phases. So it is, I'm I didn't realize I'm now a marketer.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, okay. So I thought I would just be able to just go in and just do the work that I love, which is being a medium and connecting people to their loved ones on the other side. But there's so much more to it. Bookkeeping, there's just website developer, like all this stuff that you just have to learn how to do.
Yeah. Well, it's perfect. And with what you do, I mean, so much of it from our experience with you is heavy in like the word of mouth referral. Because when you do unique things and you have unique services, you create your own unique identity. And then for us, it's like we wanted to share you with everybody, hence why we're bringing you on the podcast. Because there's a lot of, there was a lot of people who we would try, and then we'd have like these reads and we're like, I think I could have just made stuff up too. Like, what are you talking about? Like the one lady was trying to tell us that our son needed to eat like 6 cashews a day. I'm like, he eats 50 cashews a day. He loves cashews. Like, what are you talking about? And then it's like all this made up stuff. We're like, what the hell? And then when I think you did a read for Megan first, and then she was like, you need to do a read with Holly. I'm like, all right, cool. So we did that. And I think I've used you twice since. And you've come over to our house and got rid of cats and an old person doing his hair in our bathroom.
Yes. I forgot about that old man in the bathroom. Yes.
I did not. That was creepier to me than the cat in my daughter's bedroom. I'm like, what the hell is a person doing in here? I took a bath up there yesterday. I'm like, this son of a bitch better not be in here. Like, it's awkward.
You have to let me come over again. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, the spirit kitty, that's what I've been calling it, because I was like, this is such a cool thing. And really and truly, I loved that your feedback was that she now doesn't see the cat anymore. And that feels, and it was cool to see that she was seeing the same type of cat that I was seeing. And that's why I wanted her there, was so that I could make sure that the information I was receiving was correct.
Yeah.
And so it sounded like we had meshed, and it was so fun to work with her because she got to spray my dragon's blood spray. And I don't know, I just love children. So it was really cool to watch her work with me.
Well, yeah. And for people listening, you're like, what the heck does this have to do with a cat? Like, a little background on it is like, our son was gifted in his own way in this old house that we were in. And he always said that there was a dad with two boys or 2 kids with them. And then he brought up like monsters and all this stuff. And when we moved into this house, it kind of like subsided. But when we were in that house, he slept like dog crap. He didn't sleep at all. And then when we moved here, he sleeps really, really well. But then our daughter was not sleeping all that well. And then she wouldn't sleep in her bed. And like, we bought her like this beautiful little princess, like canopy, but like you saw it, there's a little rainbow behind it. Like, it's a cute little setup. She wouldn't sleep in a damn thing. And we're like, what the heck is wrong with you? And she was like, the cat is scratching me, or the cat won't let me, and the cat's doing this. And so as parents, so often we're told, like, when a kid tells us that like kids are dumb, or like they don't know what they're talking about, they're making it up, but we don't believe in that. We're like, well, there must be something. The story continues to be the same. So it was nice to have you be able to come over, confirm what she was saying, and then escort the thing out of here. And she's slept beautifully since. So like from a health standpoint, like, you made our daughter healthier because she's sleeping better now. So it's really cool. It's really unique perspective that we have, that we're able to use you for that particular service. So it's just, that's the background of the cat, the spirit cat.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, so many people, I'm working on growing a side of my business where it is working with intuitive children.
Yeah.
And it is because we are kids that are seeing spirit, and we're not the only, like, it's not just intuitive people. A lot of young kids can, just because we're not filtered by so much stuff in the world.
Right.
And so how do we like learn how to ground ourselves and protect ourselves, and how to tell the kitty cat to go away? Because it is a real thing. And so many times, even as much as I love my parents, it was when I started saying like, hey, like this is happening. They're like, oh, and I brought home like books, and they're like, do not go there. Do not.
Yeah.
We are not letting the devil in. I'm like, I don't feel like it's devilish, because I felt like I felt safe. And that's the difference, is I felt safe, and I felt like they were my loved ones, that I just I couldn't quite tell who they were at that time. Now I figured it out.
Yeah. And it's cool because like some people say I feel called to this and I feel called, but like you literally were. And what's unique about you too is like you're so coachable on the back end of it, where you're like, let me know how that reading went, and like fill me in, like when this happens, like, because you don't have all the answers like to the pinpoint specific whatever, but then I'm like, oh, by the way, this is what happened. You're like, oh, that was what we were talking about there. Like, you're always so coachable, and you can tell, like, in your heart of hearts, not to play off your last name or anything, but
and my business name,
right, but like, you're so passionate about it, and you truly care about doing the best for people and not like shysting people out of money. Like, it's so unique to find you in this space, and we love it. We absolutely love it.
Oh, thank you. Well, I think that's a reason. I believe that I was given this gift for a reason. And as much as I would love to just do it for free for everybody, because that really would be my calling, but I can't. And so, it is something that I always say, like, I'm different as far as mediums, because I'm just a real person. I was a special ed teacher. I'm not the person that knows everything about the moons. I'm not the moon phases. I'm not the person that knows every crystal. I know what I use, and that's it. But I'm not this huge collective person that claims to be that person. I am a really great communicator with the other side. My psychic intuition abilities are really strong as well. But I always say that I get it from spirit, loved ones. It's not me just seeing what you're, seeing in your head and reading your mind. It's really connecting to the other side, and they give you the guidance, and they give you the next steps and what's going to happen in your future life. Yeah.
Well, on that note, because I know we talked about it a little bit before we hit record, do you have some fun stories from things that you've experienced, whether in your personal life with this or just in readings? Do you have any fun ones you want to share?
Yeah. Well, okay. So my class that I do on Monday nights, Hartfelt Healers, we're developing mediums. So I'm helping mediums practice doing readings on just, we call them sitters. Sitters are not babysitters, by the way. Everyone was confused by my post. Their sitters are just people sitting with mediums.
Sure.
And so we're all meditating. We're in the mood, and all of a sudden, like, all the lights went out. And the cool part is we're medium. So we're like, oh, it's okay. I got up. Nobody's freaked out. The average person might be like, oh my gosh. I would say, though, being a medium, when spirit is very strong and they are wanting to get your attention, and I'm calling them spirit at this time because I don't know who they connected to in these circumstances. I had like a room divider that just came crashing on me. It had been up in my room for 6-7 months, never moved. And my husband, who's very scientific, was like, there's no way that thing should have moved. And it came landing on me in the middle of the night. It hit just the footboard, so it did not hit me. I was like, okay, who's here? It's just them trying to get their attention. But could that be scary? Yes. They mess with my kids' fans. Not so much lately, but they have. So my kids are like, Mom, somebody's here. I said, it's just probably Grandma. We'll sage her and tell her to go. Yeah. So those are some interesting stories. It does happen sometimes, even virtual readings that I do. Like it'll, even before your mouse went off to the side, your cursor. Sometimes like it'll go like black when I start to talk about something that maybe is a little bit more uncomfortable. I think it's just them trying to tell me to like pause or slow down when it comes to that.
Yeah. And I think nighttime, I feel like they're probably most active and easiest to see, because as an adult, like as a human, right, like our conscious mind starts to wind down when it comes to bedtime. So that's when like a lot of kids will be scared, or they'll hear noises, or they'll hear these things. And it's because the conscious mind has basically gone to sleep. Subconscious is like, okay, what's going on here? So it's more open to suggesting, or to suggestion. It's more open to receiving what is around. So I think it's really unique, and I'm sure your kids, I already met the one, but like, everyone's going to be steeped. Yeah. Everyone's going to be steeped in this. And your poor husband, like you said, kind of like you didn't necessarily tell him how gifted you were, but yeah.
Well, I didn't think it was really like, I was like, it's no big deal, because I had done it for so many years. To me, it was just like, oh, whatever. And then like when I was in prayer, it was like his aunt came through and was like, please protect him. I'm like, whoa, what's happening here? And then I'm like, oh, by the way, I had to protect you from your aunt. And he's like, okay. But the cool part is now he has grown so much without me even ever pushing it. Because now I brought through his basketball coach recently that had passed. We didn't even realize that he had passed, but it was his funeral week when I brought him through. So my husband's now enjoyed my gifts because it's like, oh, this is kind of cool. So it took him some time though.
Yeah. Well, so I know you offer a lot, and you talked about the Hartfelt healers that you meet with and you kind of coach on Mondays. Is that strictly an in-person thing, or are people able to like join virtually? Do you have any virtual offerings that you're doing?
Yeah. So Hartfelt Healers is Monday nights. It's just drop-in little classes. This is how I learned, but it is structured based on my background in education. So it is very structured. I'm a planner, so I'm type A in that sense. And then the virtual one is going to be my Hartfelt University. That's going to be on Zoom, but that does start next week. And then I'm going to host another one in the spring. So that is happening, and that is for developing mediums. But if we're wanting to work with me just to connect with your loved ones on the other side, that's all the time I'm available.
And how would one know that this is the right thing for them to do? Like, what do you think that most people be feeling or curious about enough to join you in the university?
It's going to be that they are already feeling like they see the silhouettes, they hear, they feel, but they're like, I don't know. And some people just want to grow a business too. I mean, mine wasn't necessarily to do that. Mine was just to see if I even was accurate. So basically with my class, you're going to be practicing with live feedback from me, which will give them confidence and accuracy to do a reading by themselves. And if they, so it's going to be somebody that feels very intuitive. And some people have commented that maybe they're uncomfortable doing the reading, but it's going to be 15-minute mini readings that I'm going to be working with you. So, but if they're not comfortable, I'd say come to my classes live on Monday nights, because that's just it's a fun, we do intuition activities. We do a medium workshop too.
Okay. I love it. I love that you have an ever-reaching reach. You have something local, people can come and attend, and then you have the university where people can join from wherever they are, and they can also learn and work with you to develop these skills, whether it is to do just readings or make a business out of it, whatever it might be. But I think it's a very useful tool, especially in this day and age with all the crazy stuff that's happening right now. We're losing a lot of people. To me, it's like at a record rate. A lot of people are just randomly dropping dead. And so to be able to get that connection, I know today is the Day of the Dead, correct?
Yes, today's the Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
And, we can, just the average person can also bring in your loved ones on the other side. And I host that. I did a free mini workshop a few weeks ago on that. And I'm going to do one more before the holidays. Okay. It's really going to be about how you can hone in. And there are some tips I can give you guys today. First and foremost is raising the vibration in your home. So if you're wanting to, Day of the Dead is celebrating and honoring your loved ones that have died. So today is a day that we would want to raise the vibration. That includes laughter, singing, music. I dance. I love dancing. So I'm always dancing, bringing in all the spirit loved ones. I'm like,
yep.
You can also, so we have the dancing. I would also meditate. We can really connect with them through meditation, but we have to get out of the ego. And we all have it. So it's not just, I'm not saying ego like this malicious word, but it is about being so stuck in our head that we, in a human experience, that we don't listen to it. So if I'm laying there in meditation and I'm getting, I need to eat a salad, right? Like I'm feeling this and it's really random stuff like that. Then I need to listen to that and not think it's in my head. I'm like, oh, well, I'm just trying to eat healthier. No, my body's actually craving something a little healthier right now. So, and that's spirit, I feel, or my even soul connecting with me saying, hey, pay attention. It's time to go eat something, maybe my body's needing it that day.
Sure. Yeah, I need to move something out or caffeine. It's all right. We all have our vices. So with the Day of the Dead being now, I know one of the things, I think you said next month or whatever it might be, you're able to do kind of like calling in the loved ones for the holidays, correct?
Yeah, people can do it themselves, like we said, the meditation, making sure you journal after the meditation so you know what they're saying, but paying attention to the signs. If
Okay.
you want to know if your loved ones are with you, I walked down the stairs last night and I posted about it, and there was just a rainbow in my house. It was just a reflection.
Yeah.
Couldn't quite see where it was coming from, but it's a rainbow that's never been there. And I've lived in this
Yeah.
house for 8 years, so it's not normal. So I'm like, okay, so paying attention to the signs. But one thing I tell people is stop and like listen to that sign. So if you see
Hmm.
that feather on the ground, I want you to stop and think, okay, is it my mom or my dad on the other side? Is it my brother or my sister, whoever might be like close? And
Yeah.
right away, whatever that feeling is, you need to stick with it. You don't overthink it.
Okay.
And then think about, if you can, this is the hardest part, is really thinking about what were you just maybe taking a walk and you were
Hmm.
thinking about, picking up the kids from school or whatever that may be. Because they're giving you messages. So that's a
Yeah.
good way to tell that they're around you. And there's lots
Hmm.
of different signs.
Yeah. I remember in one of the readings we did, it was change. Like change would just be laying around. And
Oh,
I think it was like right after that, I went up into my closet. We have like one of the little organizer things, and there's change sitting on the closet organizer. I'm like, what the? And it was the same thing. It's like, what were you thinking about? And there was another one too that you had me do. I forget what it was, but it was another, like, if you're feeling it, if you're experiencing, think about what you're thinking in that moment. And
mm-hmm.
it helped a lot. And I was like, okay, I need to sit and I need to focus on this, because I think it was dealing with like the herbalism and stuff, which, and I've got many more books since the last read. I'll just tell Megan it's
Oh,
your
okay.
fault. So, but
It's all my fault.
yeah, it's all Holly's fault. But
Tell
but
Megan.
no, yeah. But to be able to call in loved ones, and again with COVID and all that stuff, when a lot of people were passing, I feel like there was like this lack of closure. A lot of people lost their significant others, their grandparents, without being able to see them or seeing them through a door, just through Zoom. So if people were like, "Hey, Holly, can you help me?" No matter where they are, you're able to do virtual reads for them as well, correct?
Yeah, virtual and in person. But I'm all over the United States and
Yeah,
officially in Canada now. So
there you
I'm
go.
very excited.
I love it.
I'm like, I had to plug that one.
You're
Um,
international now, so
woo, I feel very famous now. But it is something that I feel very drawn to. I have one of my
yeah.
clients that calls me her operator to her parents.
Oh, okay.
And she just wants me to find out, like, how do I sell the house? What's the price that I should do? And
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, she sold the house. So that was exciting. They sold the
yeah.
house based on some of my information I gave. Um, so it is something really important. Virtual, in person. In person's gonna be Northwest Peoria area
Mhm.
in Arizona. So,
Yeah.
but virtually I can do it anywhere.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure, because you kept telling how people can do it themselves, but I'm a dummy when it comes to this stuff. I feel intuitively, I feel certain things, but I'd rather like delegate to somebody who knows what the heck they're doing. Because
Right.
with how my brain works, I'm like, was that right? Was that what I saw? Let me do that again.
Overthinking.
Or like I plug it into the scientific method. I'm like, none of this makes any sense. I'm like, I don't know, and I just move on with it. But I
Yeah.
think,
Well, hiring a medium is the best way
yeah,
because obviously I have gone through years of understanding the symbols. So it
yeah,
is hard for, other people that are not as in tune to the spirit
hmm,
side, but it is something that you can do if you just listening to our soul and our own journey. And
hmm,
that's why some people leave corporate America or leave jobs, is because we're
yeah,
really needing that. I call it the soul pull.
hmm,
And that's really your loved ones going, oh, yink, it's time to
yeah.
go.
Yeah, I love it. Do you have, because like the way that I see is you have no limitations. That's how I see you. Are there certain things you're like, I don't really like working with that, or I don't think that I could help with that? Do you have any limitations that you put on yourself?
Well, I'm doing a group reading tonight. My max is 8 so far. I think
Okay.
I could go to 10 at this point in my career. But 8 it's overwhelming energetically
Yeah.
to bring through. In each reading, I'm bringing through sometimes 2 to 3 spirit loved ones,
Yeah.
sometimes 5 per person, and that is overwhelming. No, and the thing is, I don't know my clients ahead of time. I will tell you the child losses, those are heavy. And sometimes when I'm getting those, I'm like, whoa. And it's sometimes like weeks of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, it can be really heavy. But otherwise limitations, I would say, I don't like to go life or death type of scenarios. Like,
Yeah.
don't hire me for like, am I going to die tomorrow? Because I don't ask for that information. I
Yeah.
don't really want to know that information.
Sure.
And yeah, so I think that would be it. Now, sometimes I can see if like they have an older grandparent that's still living, and I can sometimes see some grayness, and I might just say like, hey, it's time to go spend time with them.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say, oh, tomorrow at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'm not that accurate.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be that.
That would be hard.
I mean, even just the energy exchange from bringing people through and you having to absorb that and process that, like, it's your body, but it's like this vessel, this conduit, and the more energies you cram inside of this little body, like it's got to feel kind of constricting. What do you do? I'm just curious personally. What do you do to try to help to like cleanse yourself off or like get that energy out of you when you're done with a read?
Well, on the trial loss weeks, I typically will cry a lot.
Yeah, sure.
And it's just a natural. I don't know. It's like I grieve with these parents, and I hold it together for a reading, right? You try to be professional. So I do shed some of that through emotions on those heavy losses. But otherwise, I do a lot of dancing. I play a lot of music. I love music. It's very important in my life. The things I teach in my classes, my universities, like to shake it off. So you can literally brush it off your body. Showering, I know it's such a silly thing, but you can take baths, shower. I sage myself just to make sure, especially I haven't ever received like anything that's like negative, but sometimes as funny stories is they will hang out with me for a long time. Some of these men, will hang out with me. Yeah. One of them was very flirty with me once, and I was like, okay, slow down. So I have to cut ties, like, let's go.
Sure.
So yeah, sometimes they're funny.
Yeah. That's awesome. And it's such a blessing too that you're able to process that as well. And that's another reason why I would rather hire you to do it for me, because if I had something like hanging around, or if I had like an awkward thing that was like, oh, that happened, like, shit, did I stir something up? Did I make something mad? Because like Megan will feel like an entity or something. She'll want me to smudge because I'm kind of a sensor that, like, I'll walk into a room like, okay, something felt a little weird in here. I don't know what to do with it. I'm like, yeah. And usually after I sage, like, things are good. But there are times like we rented that Airbnb in Scottsdale. There's definitely somebody screwing with me in that place. And you're talking about the fans with your kids. Like, there's a bunk bed set of rooms at this Airbnb. And our kids like went to bed and everything, and we were just hanging out outside. We came in and the bedroom light was on. I'm like, that's strange. So I go in there and I'm like, okay, the little like fan remote thing was gone. I'm like, all right, well, I'll just go hit the switch and turn it off. So I go out of the room and the light turns back on, fan's on. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, oh, Hoyt must be just like laying on the remote or something. So I like push him around, flip him around. Like, the remote's not there. It's not in the holder. I don't know what the heck is going on. So I leave and I go and get Megan, and I'm like, Megan, you got to come in this room. I can't find the remote. This weird thing happened. I don't know what the heck is going on. I open the door and everything shuts off. I'm like, ugh. And I'm like, Megan, see if you can find this stinking remote. Like, I don't know what the heck it is, but like something's going on in this room. So sure enough, like the night passed or whatever. Hoyt woke up in the morning, not very well rested. Then the next night we put him in that room, and then he asked us if we could go to a different room. Like, yeah, sure, buddy. Go ahead into a different room. Like, get out. So then I go into the living room and I go outside. This Zoom thing with the thumbs up. I was
like, what just happened?
I don't know. When I do thumbs up or whatever, sometimes it
I was like, oh my God, that's spirit.
Yeah, maybe. It could be. Yeah. But so I go through the living room and I'm going to go let the dogs inside, and the blinds just, bloop, they all close. I'm like, somebody's fucking with me.
Really?
Like, get at it. Yeah. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I was like super happy to get back into this house. I'm like, I don't know what the heck stirred up. So for like the next week after when we were here, I smudged the whole home. I saged dust and everything. I'm like, let's just be on the lookout in case something jumped on us and we carried it from one spot to another. Do you see that often? Like, if like spirits like jump, or do they usually stay kind of where they were when they
usually stay where they are unless they're like your spirit loved ones,
Okay.
but I doubt that because you would have had some of the same experiences
Sure.
at your own home.
Yeah.
But and that home could just need to be saged, or somebody had passed
Oh, we
there,
did.
Okay.
God,
You're
yeah, we did. That day, Megan went out. We staged the whole freaking thing. We're like, yeah, we'll make it through the rest of the week. I'm not living in a house that somebody could mess with me. That's not fun.
No, and it is creepy, especially if they're that strong of a spirit loved one. And I call them again spirit loved ones. They're not your loved ones, perhaps, but but the thing is, when they're strong like that, like to knock over my room divider, like that, they're really trying to get your attention. They're trying to, the normal flickering of a light. They're just saying hi, But if they're pushing things over, moving your picture frames, opening the blinds, closing the blinds, they're definitely saying like, I have a message for you. We need to talk. Yeah. They're like, probably yours was like, get out.
I'm fine with that.
You're like, I'm
goosebumps as I'm talking about it. Yeah, I'm out, buddy. I'm not going back. That was a beautiful Airbnb. Not going back. So.
Yeah, it's hard, but I think, and the thing is with anything. And in the mediumship world, especially, like it can be creepy, right? Or people say that I'm tapping into the devil, right?
Yeah.
And I've been preyed upon many times, by the way. So I'm good. I'm good now. Many prayers. I'm like, okay, thank you. I'll take it. Whatever you guys want. But it's interesting because we pride ourselves on not even going to that level, like not even going to the mindset of like, oh, that's demonic or that's bad, because if I don't want to open up any portals, if there is something crazy like that, I don't want to go there. So I always look at it as like, they're getting my attention. Was I a little bit shooken when the thing came falling at me in the middle of the night? Yeah, a little bit like, what the hell? What did I do? Yeah. One of my sayings that I'm totally going to coin and put on shirts is don't mess with spirit. So one thing that I always tell in every one of my readings when people are like, well, why didn't my dad or grandpa didn't say I'm sorry? And I'm like, listen, I don't put words in spirit's mouth. Like I will not. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I know you want to hear this, but I'm not going to do that. And because I'm not messing with them. Like they will start throwing things at me and I'm not messing with them. Yep. So I truly believe in being truthful and honest to what I'm receiving in communication. Now, comes through as images. So it's not like they're telling me everything in my ear. And if they were, I'd be a millionaire, okay? Because I'd be able to tell everyone everything perfectly. And every one of us mediums would be millionaires, but we're not. And so we have to translate from the other side. And so I'm always like, okay, whatever I would love to hear, but they flash me images. So after 4.5 years of doing this, I now understand some of the symbols that I can communicate and deliver those messages. But in each and every reading, sometimes they don't mean the exact same thing. So
well, you brought up a really great point in there too, because there's been times we've talked about this where I want to like send you to somebody, and I'm like, I try to, and as soon as I say medium, they freak out. Like you're sitting there with a Ouija board with dark candles and like you've got blood coming out of your eyes.
And look at me. Look at me. I'm fine.
You would never know. Right. And this isn't just a gimmick. This is what Holly looks like. So
this is what I look like.
This is authentic. So how do you navigate that when like, I feel it sometimes it's like a fear, like they're afraid to know the answer, and so they hide behind like the Christianity or the Catholicism or whatever it might be. How do you kind of bridge that gap between the two to be like look, I guess how do you bridge the gap without me putting words in your mouth?
Yeah, I would say I just show up with who I am. I think that's what makes me different is and we talked about this too, is like, I'm just Holly Hart. Like I was a teacher. I am just a person that was given this beautiful gift. And I show up all the time on stories. I am my goofy, normal self. And I know you guys laugh. Megan wrote to me, we think you're hilarious. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Okay. But this is just who I am. Like, I'm not like, you meet me here on the podcast, you meet me in person. I'm not someone else online, and I'm not somebody else. I will show up to my group reading just the, corny person that I am. So I think that helps, to be honest, because I feel like they see the true, authentic Holly and know that, and I think people can feel my heart is in the right place. To be honest, I think that's what helps. I think word of mouth helps a lot to break that gap too. But I always say that I come from, sometimes they will say, I don't want a reading with tarot cards. So they're actually a little bit more nervous with that.
Mm-hmm.
But really and truly, all religions, no matter what, believe in spirit. They believe in the spiritual side.
Yeah.
No matter what religion, there's always, you pray to whoever you know your ancestors are with you. So sometimes I'll bring that up, but if they're too nervous, I don't bother. I'm not here to try to sell myself all the time. And the right people will come to me when they want to.
Right. I think that's the best thing that you can say to that as well, as you show up authentically, and it's like you're Holly Hart, and you just so happen to have this beautiful gift to be able to connect from both sides. And I think you plant the seed of like, hey, I'm here if you need me, and we could be friends, or you can just follow me and see how we impact lives. And when you're ready to ask those questions and you're ready to have a read, you'll be there. Same version of you. You'll be there, ready, willing, and able whenever they want to make that conversation happen.
And I've never been that person that would pressure. I don't like the sales tactic in general. And for me, it's like, it needs to come. People that want to come are going to come to me because they're drawn to me. Mm-hmm. I'm drawn to certain people too, right? We pay, certain, coaches or business things because we're drawn to them. Right. It's not because they had the best deal necessarily. It's who you're really drawn to. So I just try to attract the right clients for me.
I love it. So so client wise, somebody who wants to be medium, because you've accumulated, since the last time we've talked, you've accumulated a lot more services that you offer. What are all of those things in like a bullet pointed thing, one after another? What all do you offer?
All right. Well, it started off with just medium readings, one-on-one. You can bring a friend. So that's just going to be connecting you with your loved ones on the other side. In each of those readings, though, I do your chakras. I do read your chakras. I do tarot cards, oracle cards, and I bring through spirit messages. So that you get it all in 1 hour, 45 minutes to 1 hour. The next thing is I have developed this Hartfelt Healers, which is that university, the mediumship development. Mm-hmm. That is bringing in my teaching, my love, my passion, which is education. And that comes in, that's new this year. So I'm developing that branch. I call it branch because we're growing. Sure. And then the next thing that is happening is I am working with intuitive children and teaching them. I just did a class. I'm doing something else on November 11th. I'm working with a psychologist that is working with intuitive children as well, intuitive families.
Awesome.
And that is teaching them how to ground themselves, Reiki, how to protect themselves. And I've done this on my own son and one other client of mine that's 9 years old. And it has really helped them. Like my son has extreme test anxiety. I'm like, plant your feet down. We got this, and he even says to me, Mom, do Reiki on me, do Reiki. So, so those three things, and then group readings, which is what I'm doing tonight. Group readings, I come to your home. The base rate is $500 per hour. And up to 8 people. And I do medium readings, or if you want it as like entertainment party, corporate parties, people hire me. I do mini readings. Okay. And people are not like super comfortable. If you're just employees and you're like, I don't want to bring in all their loved ones. Sure. That might be a little awkward. They can do little mini readings, and those are going to be more tarot readings, psychic readings, not necessarily mediumship.
Okay. And if people wanted to find a place to click, purchase, learn more, where would they go to find you?
On Instagram and Facebook, I have links in my bio that will get you to the booking site. But I forgot one service, the one that I did for you, saging the home, and also protection grids on homes. If you're new or you have a new office, you definitely want to clear the space. And whether you're using crystals, I create a crystal grid around people's homes. But if you want to get rid of any of the spirit kitty cats or you have spirit loved ones that you're just like, you're kind of freaking me out. Yeah. I've been hired a few times to come into a home to just see what's happening and who's there. Yeah. And then if they connect, then we do a reading. So it's pretty cool. So it's kind of just checking out who's there.
Yeah.
Like I always love it, but I don't call it that.
Well, I mean, loved.
I'm like spirit loved ones hunting. Yeah. I don't know.
Gotta be careful how you frame it. Otherwise, like, are you a dating service? Well, no,
Yeah.
I think you should be dating deceased loved ones. I don't know if that would work out for you, but
No.
yeah. Well, awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time and chatting about this. And I love seeing the growth. And this is just me to you here. Like, I love seeing the growth of what you have been able to create, cultivate, and develop. I have, since we moved out to Arizona, one of the biggest things I wanted to do is kind of exploit the frauds, but bring in more authentic people. So that way, anybody I bring on here, I try to bring the highest level of authenticity. And I know you personally, like we've worked with you, we've used you multiple times, and every single time, like, we love being around you. The readings are amazing. You've helped us tremendously. And so I am so privileged to be able to bring you on this show and speak from experience, and then give you hopefully a platform where people can hear this podcast. And, as the holidays are coming through, like, you know what, I did lose my loved one during COVID, and I would love to be able to see if we can connect, from the side and see how things are going, or get some closure, whatever it might be. So thank you so much, Holly, for coming on today. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me and trusting me with your loved ones, and all, like, it's personal. You have to really be vulnerable when you're working with a medium, because I pull things out. So
yeah,
I appreciate you allowing me into your home and your space.
Absolutely.
And your family. Now I know your family too.
I know. You worked with my daughter, who maybe she needs to do some of these classes as well to learn how to tap into it. She saw the same cat, so who knows?
Yeah, exactly. We'll see how she grows up to see if she might be really in tune to it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, thank you so much.